Alright guys, what's good? It's your boy Batman and we're going to be looking at Naruto Explained. So this guy has tons of content. He has like tons of videos on like the novels, he has tons of lore videos, and he has what if videos. I don't think he has versus battle videos, so we don't really have any content like that to react to. But he does have like power scaling videos in a way to where like how strong characters are to him in his opinion and things like that. So he has tons of videos around that criteria that we could always check out and react to. Um, but one thing that I'm really interested in is obviously like his what if series, or his how strong series are, or even the novel series. That stuff is the most appealing information to me if we're ever going to react to his videos, period. So we're going to be looking at one of his what if videos. We did this a while ago when it was about Obito, if Obito never gave his Sharingan to Kakashi. So that was a really interesting scenario. I even made my own video of like what if Obito took back his Sharingan from Kakashi after seeing Ren die, and how everything would change in the story, you name it. So, but we're going to get into it. We'll kind of talk about it here and see basically what would happen if Naruto killed Sasuke at the Valley of the End in part 1. So if Naruto was actually willing to kill Sasuke instead of holding back, you name it, in the whole 9 yards, what would have happened? How would that change the story? And you name it. So let's get it. And I'm obviously intrigued and curious. And this was his most recent what if episode that he did. So we're going to check it out. And then obviously along the way, we'll look at any other what if scenarios that appealed the most to me to look at.
In the world of Naruto, we've had dozens of memorable battles, and one of the most iconic battles in the series had huge ramifications of the story is the battle of Naruto versus Sasuke, which concluded in Naruto Volume 26. We saw Sasuke looking over the unconscious body of a 13-year-old Naruto, and Sasuke, after a moment of reflection, walked off into the darkness to join Orochimaru. However, what if this never happened? What if Sasuke never got the chance to join Orochimaru because Naruto accidentally killed Sasuke during their final battle? How would the Naruto story change? Would things end up for better, or would they end up for worse? In today's edition of Naruto What If, we're going to look at just that. In order for this to happen, we must first establish a trigger point, and there's no better trigger point than the moment where an enraged Naruto and Sasuke had their Chidori versus Rasengan clash. Now, originally, Naruto wasn't aiming for Sasuke's body with the attack. He maintained enough control that he was able to go out of his way to scratch Sasuke's headband, something that Sasuke had previously said that Naruto would never be able to do. However, in this timeline, Naruto would overestimate the amount of force that he had used, and instead of scratching the headband, Naruto's attack would just leave a hole in the middle of Sasuke's skull, killing him upon impact. Naruto would pass out seconds later like he did in the original timeline, and Sasuke's lifeless body would be on the ground next to him. This causes a major change in the timeline. Zetsu would be watching the entire fight from the distance, but before he could act swiftly to capture Naruto or retrieve Sasuke's body, Kakashi would arrive on the scene. A very emotional Kakashi would drop down to his knees upon seeing one student unconscious and the other one dead. As Kakashi scooped up both Naruto and Sasuke into his arms, Kakashi would make the same remark that he did before, bringing up the irony of Naruto and Sasuke fighting at the Valley of the End, but this time he'd go a step further, remarking how the first Hokage once killed his former friend at this same spot, and now Naruto had done the same, remarking that history repeated itself once again, and that both times it had been an Uchiha who had died here. As they travel back to...
Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I really do believe that, like, if Naruto didn't go to strike his hand and that he went to just hit Sasuke instead, that they both would have just ended up in being knocked out. But let's say we go the route and just say, like, Naruto just used too much power when he hit him and went right through his body, then fuck it, that's fine, and he killed him. You know what I mean? But Naruto ain't killing anybody with just a fucking scratch in the head either.
Konoha, escorted by the medical unit who would now be carrying Sasuke. Naruto would be briefly woken up before passing out once again. When they arrive in Konoha, the mood would be a lot more dire and grim than before. Shikamaru would hang his head even lower, knowing that not only had his first mission as a Chunin led to so many of his teammates being on death's door, but the objective of their mission hadn't just ended in failure to capture Sasuke, but the battle itself had resulted in the death of Sasuke altogether.
Yeah.
Temari and Shikamaru's father would have a harder time trying to talk him off the ledge of quitting as a ninja, but I still do believe Shikamaru would remain as a ninja, especially as the news that Choji made it through surgery had come across to him. Ino and Sakura's visit to the hospital wouldn't be nearly as much of a sigh of relief as it was originally. Neither of them knew that Sasuke wasn't in the village, but Sakura was of the belief that Sasuke was still there. Assuming the news of Sasuke's death is kept on the wraps, just as the news originally about the mission being a failure was hidden, Ino would likely learn that Sasuke was dead when Choza gives a status update on Choji, and Sakura hear the words "he's dead" on the other side of the door as she listened in, leading to the inevitable mental breakdown that would occur just before Tsunade arrived, except for in this timeline, she wouldn't be coming to look at Naruto's injuries, but to check on him mentally for the death.
Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. If Sasuke was to die, that's an extreme, and I mean like an extreme fucking mental handicap nerf to Naruto throughout the whole fucking series. Okay, I'm putting that out there right now. If he was to even proceed to even still want to be Hokage, and you name it, that's a whole other can of worms, but let's say he still was to go along that journey and still want to be Hokage, you name it, that's basically something to put into consideration. But the biggest fucking problem, actually, that's going to happen if Sasuke is ever killed in Naruto, obviously, it's the big boy, the big bad, Itachi. The most important thing Itachi cared about was, as long as Sasuke is protected and safe, you know, he won't give any intel to all the villages, you name it, blah, blah, and there won't be any problems. If Sasuke gets killed, okay, you best believe there's going to be a fucking problem. You know what I mean? And that's the most interesting concept of really thinking about. What would Itachi do if he hears that his brother was killed? You know, would he, you know, destroy the village? Would he just straight up kill Orochimaru and kind of blame him for it? Would he do something to Naruto? What would he do? You know? And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. With everything we find out eventually Naruto should put in and how he is as a person, a pacifist, you name it, and he's always wanted to protect the village, you name it, I don't think he would destroy the village. I do think like he would do something to kind of spite the village in a way, but nothing to like, you know, to a drastic extent of like destroying the Hidden Leaf. I don't think that's what he would really do. I don't think he would really do anything to Naruto because, you know, like he would more than likely be able to figure out that Naruto didn't mean to kill him on purpose. So you probably have that, you know, whatever. I feel like if Itachi's going to take it out on anybody, it would be Orochimaru. And he would kill him. But that's about it, you know. So, I don't know. It's really interesting, you know. If I were to do maybe more homework or whatever, maybe Itachi would just flip his shit and go fucking crazy and just start killing everybody. Or even destroy the village or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Because like his whole thing is about protecting the leaf. And he makes it very crystal clear to Danzo that if he was to ever hurt Sasuke or whatever, that he would immediately fuck over the village and give all intel, you name it, whatever, and fuck him in so many ways they can't even imagine. Okay? He never says he'll destroy Konoha, but he would basically make him regret it for the rest of their life. And they would have many, many problems. Many fucking problems. And he also asked the third Hokage to protect Sasuke. Okay, so like, if Sasuke wasn't able to be protected, obviously, and was killed, you know, I don't think he would, you know, so much be like, oh, you know, fuck everything, whatever, blah, blah, and lose his shit. I really don't think that. I just think there would be drastic consequences, and he would more than likely end up killing Orochimaru for it. That's all. I'm very curious to see if he ever addresses how Itachi and what he would do.
Of his comrade. Naruto wouldn't be able to look at a crying Sakura in the eyes, and Shikamaru would still try to explain what happened to Sakura as he did in the original timeline, but Naruto would be just as devastated as Sakura, if not worse. He made a promise to bring back Sasuke to the village, but not like this. Sasuke was supposed to have been brought back to her alive, not dead. Sakura would recall how all she could do was cry before, begging Naruto to stop Sasuke and to bring him back, and how powerless she felt, and now she'd be crying all over again. I do believe that Sakura would leave the room a shell of herself, blaming herself for being useless, and in time, that self-directed anger would build up inside of her just as it did originally when she approached Tsunade to become her apprentice, believing if she had been a medical ninja, she might have been able to do something to assist Naruto in bringing Sasuke back. Meanwhile, as Kakashi visited Obito's grave, he'd have a heavier conscience than in the original timeline. Jiraiya would appear in Naruto's window ready to check on his godson. Jiraiya would be forced to approach the elephant in the room after telling Naruto that the Akatsuki wouldn't be after him for another 3 or 4 years because Naruto would likely go off on a tangent like he did originally when he said he needed to save Sasuke from Orochimaru, but instead this time it would be about how he didn't care about the Akatsuki because he killed Sasuke. Jiraiya would have to take a tougher stance than he did originally when he told Naruto to forget about Sasuke. He'd have to tell him that Sasuke and Orochimaru were cut from the same cloth, and that if Naruto can't move past what he'd done, then he'd have to have the Anbu Black Ops watching his every move and tell Tsunade to have him restricted to the village, just like he threatened to do originally. Jiraiya would be forced to tell Naruto of his failed encounter to stop Orochimaru from leaving Konoha and how he didn't want Naruto to suffer the same way he did, but in some ways Naruto had it worse because whereas he couldn't stop Orochimaru, Sasuke had been killed by Naruto, but Jiraiya would tell Naruto he did Sasuke a mercy by killing him before he could have become something like Orochimaru that couldn't be saved, telling Naruto that the ninja system led to Orochimaru becoming Orochimaru and ultimately Sasuke dying at such a young age, and that as a ninja it's Naruto's duty to endure no matter how painful it is, which would lead to Naruto saying.
And I do agree with that in a sense. I do really do believe that Jiraiya would give that type of a speech to Naruto or talk, and that does make sense. It does sound very believable in character and you name it. The question is what Naruto's response would be. Obviously he's more likely going to be very emotional still and kind of, yell or whatever, but, but yeah, I do agree with that for the most part.
He'd find a way to be the change to the shinobi system when he became Hokage one day, so there wouldn't be another Sasuke, which would lead to having enough there for Jiraiya to still make Naruto a student, but Jiraiya would know deep down that Naruto was hurting inside, which likely leads to Kakashi speaking to Naruto in front of Obito's grave, telling the story of how he got the Sharingan as well as how Rin died, telling Naruto that the pain that we feel today doesn't go away. It'll always live with you, but that pain is something that you take and you use it to protect the comrades you still have left. Meanwhile, Zetsu would inform the Akatsuki that Sasuke had been killed and Konoha is in possession of his body. The news would internally rattle Itachi upon hearing it, likely leading to a moment of reflection on Itachi's part, wondering if the decisions he made up to this point had been the correct ones. The younger brother he gave up everything for had now just died, and upon learning that Sasuke was on his way to Orochimaru when he died, Itachi has two decisions to make during the 2.5-year time skip. Does he go through with the threat that he made to Danzo and go full scorched earth by revealing the intel he had on Konoha since his younger brother's now dead? Or does Itachi redirect that anger towards Orochimaru for corrupting his younger brother? In my opinion, I believe Itachi during that 2.5-year time skip likely makes it a point to track down Orochimaru by any means necessary and kills Orochimaru, making it the one final check mark for his legacy, knowing that his life is soon going to come to an end due to Itachi's illness. In the process of that battle, Itachi or Kisame likely killed Kabuto during that skirmish. The deaths of Orochimaru and Kabuto create major changes in the timeline. Some immediate and others would be later on down the line. Itachi would be known as the man who killed Orochimaru, and word would likely spread to other hideouts, likely leading to the prisoners breaking free at some point. And given that Suigetsu is locked away seemingly alone, it's very likely Suigetsu spends his days in a test tube, oblivious to the world around him with no one there to free him, like Sasuke did to him in Naruto chapter 346. Suigetsu will remain floating in his test tube. At some point during their travels, Jiraiya would learn that Itachi killed Orochimaru, and the news will make him wonder more about Itachi. He knew that Orochimaru left Akatsuki in the past, but the idea that Sasuke's brother tracked down Orochimaru, it would feel personal, and it would make him think back to Sasuke, wondering if there was more to Itachi to cause him to deviate from the Akatsuki's Biju hunt to kill Orochimaru, since Itachi wouldn't have had a reason to want Orochimaru dead. If Itachi wanted to blame anyone on the surface level, why wouldn't he target Naruto, the one who had actually killed Sasuke, if it was merely about revenge? Jiraiya would begin to see more beneath the surface. Meanwhile, I don't think Danzo would be able to get his hands on Sasuke's Sharingan, just because Tsunade likely would have had the body disposed of as a precaution due to the nature of the Sharingan's value and it falling into the wrong hands, but also due to the secrets that Sasuke's body would hold. While there might be an argument for taking Sasuke Sasuke's Sharingan and giving it to another ninja, given how valuable it is. Konoha already had Kakashi of the Sharingan, and Tsunade would know that even Kakashi had issues using the Sharingan because genetically he wasn't an Uchiha. And if an elite in Kakashi had struggles with the Sharingan, what good would it do someone else? The only person Tsunade might give that Sharingan to would actually be Naruto. But for the purpose of this video, we're not going to give Naruto the Sharingan. Okay. Ultimately, I believe Sasuke's Sharingan would be sealed or outright destroyed.
What would also be interesting is if you think Itachi would go as far to take Sasuke's eyes and to obtain the EMS, you know, to kind of make him even more powerful, you name it, to basically go on like a certain journey of vengeance in a way, you know, with killing Orochimaru and then doing certain things and whatnot. Basically, you know, maybe even reproducing with another individual to, you know, kind of make sure the Uchiha clan doesn't become extinct. Like, you'd more likely kind of go in a direction to kind of make sure the Uchiha can still live on, and also, you know, to make himself more of a threat and be more powerful and kind of deal with whoever needs to be dealt with to ensure the safety of the village, you name it. That could be a pretty strong possibility, but, you know, I don't know. It's interesting. So either that would happen, or Naruto maybe would be given it. Maybe it's a big fucking maybe, or Danzo would take the eyes. It's going to be one or the other.
From falling in the wrong hands. Naruto, in my opinion, would return back from his 2.5-year time skip training much stronger than before due to an increased drive and wanting to get stronger so he could do what Kakashi told Naruto before the time skip, which is to use the pain that he felt to protect his friends who remain. And due to him wanting to gain better control of the Nine Tails power, Naruto be more determined to master this power so as to prevent anyone from dying when he lost control again. However, I don't believe Naruto would master his power outright yet, though I do believe he'd be strong-willed enough to have even better control, potentially going all the way up to the 5th tail without losing control of his consciousness. By extension, I could see Sakura emerging from the time skip much stronger than before and much more skilled than before due to the trauma of losing Sasuke, though the first time we see Naruto back in the village might be a bit awkward, but I believe the two of them will be able to move past it given the gap in time as well as the distance between the two over 2.5 years.
I don't know about all that. I don't think they would definitely move past it yet. I really do believe Sakura would have a very strong resentment and hatred towards Naruto. If anything, she might even eventually try to kill Naruto at a certain point. I don't know. We don't know. She loved Sasuke tremendously, was in love with him, you name it. We all know about the cycle of hatred, the whole 9 yards. So it's either one or two things. She tries to kill Naruto at a certain point and either doesn't, or maybe even succeeds, who knows. Okay, she is a very smart ninja as well. She can create poisons, you name it, make you fall asleep, the whole fucking 9 yards. So either that, or she would have resentment and hatred towards Naruto and basically treat him like shit for a very, very long time. Either forever, or eventually she would get her head out of her ass and, just let it go and forgive and move on, So it's very interesting. I don't think after 3 fucking years she would just be back to I don't know about all that.
Gaara was still going to have the One Tails extracted from him, and Sasori is still falling battle to Sakura and Chio. Naruto might be more enraged when he fought Deidara, but this time, when he starts sprouting tails, Naruto will be able to maintain consciousness for longer. Where the next major change occurs is that Sakura never questions Sasori about Orochimaru because Konoha would know that Itachi killed Orochimaru, though it is possible Sakura views wanting to kill Itachi as a way of wanting to make things right for Sasuke since Sasuke's now dead, and the idea of accomplishing something her dead teammate wanted could be on the table, which means she could question about Itachi.
That's a possibility.
However,
too.
Even if that's given the case, given Akatsuki are constantly on the move, the best Sasori could give her with intel is to look for the Four Tails, since that was Kisame's target, and wherever Kisame is, that's where Itachi would be. Assuming that this is the case, the Tenchi Bridge arc would be a lot different. Yamato would still be named co-captain of Team 7, and Sai would be placed on the team, but his orders would be to try and find and eliminate Itachi, so Danzo could close the book on the Uchiha clan once and for all. The team might likely start looking near or even in the Stone Village, since Roshi is the Jinchuriki of the Four Tails, and this would be assuming that his identity was known by Danzo or anyone in Konoha, since the identity of a Jinchuriki is usually kept top secret. Given that Team Kurenai was already on a mission, I don't think the members would join in the Itachi hunt right away, and due to the movements of Hidan and Kakuzu, I could foresee a scenario where they don't get involved at all. Hidan would still kill Asuma, and that's where a major change would occur, is Team Yamato will be called back to Konoha after Asuma's death, which I could see being a possibility, since looking for Hidan and Kakuzu inside the Land of Fire would be more of a priority. Where things get really interesting and change in this timeline is that Naruto never learns the Rasen Shuriken in this timeline. Originally, Kakashi only thought to give Naruto change in chakra nature training to create a more unique version of his Rasengan, because Kakashi heard firsthand how drastically Sasuke powered up, to the point where an elite Jonin like Yamato was nothing before Sasuke. The same trigger is not there, and there is nothing to suggest Kakashi was even thinking about teaching Naruto change in chakra nature drills before this, because it's not something expected of a shinobi until they become a chunin. Assuming this ends up being the case, I do believe Naruto...
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I do believe there is a strong possibility Kakashi would still eventually take that route with Naruto, because he's the only one that has the capability and potential to even master a technique like that. And Kakashi does go into very much explanation of, why and etc. and you name it. Yes, the majority of the drive was for Naruto to catch up to Sasuke and you name it, and get more powerful and stronger. But, I do think there could be plenty enough of incentive to get stronger, especially because the Akatsuki hunting him. Him being the fourth Hokage's son, you name it, the whole 9 yards. It goes on and on. So I do believe he would still master the Rasen Shuriken. And even if like Naruto and Sakura went to go to, find Kasame or Itachi, since they're hunting the Four Tails or whatever, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I could have sworn that doesn't happen until way later on. I could have sworn that was after Asuma dies. You'd have to say that event, has to take place way before, which that's also really weird. So I don't know how I feel about all that. I could have sworn that was after Naruto knowing the Rasen Shuriken when they captured the Four Tails. I could have sworn, I don't know, I can't remember. I don't know if there is a timeline for when they went to do that or not, or when it happens, but I do know it was shown afterwards. That I can say. But either way, I wouldn't say that would be much of a reason for him not to learn Rasen Shuriken. That's a little weird. I don't know. That's just me, but,
Team 7 would join Team 10 and Kakashi in the revenge battle against Hidan and Kakuzu after Asuma's funeral, giving Shikamaru more pieces to utilize during the rematch. With a higher grade of difficulty due to not having the Rasen Shuriken, I could see Kakuzu dying after Shikamaru kills Hidan. Where things get really interesting is with the character Asai. Originally, after he broke away from Team 7, Sai's picture book was found, and between the picture book and wanting to understand Team 7's loyalty to Sasuke, a traitor to the village, Sai began to change throughout that arc. Given the current timeline, I think the same change in Sai occurs, but it happens much slower and naturally over time, with Kakashi likely being the one who eventually gets through to Sai, since Sai did state that Kakashi is a legend in the Anbu. However, where our next major change occurs is with Itachi himself. Itachi would be nearing the end of his natural lifespan if he hadn't died already, since he was only prolonging his life to make sure he could die by Sasuke's hands and set up his backup plan in the form of Shisui's Koto Matsukami to be used on Sasuke in the event that Sasuke is corrupted by the Akatsuki. One of two things could happen here before the end of Itachi's natural life. He could confront Obito and use Shisui's eye to make Obito willingly destroy the Akatsuki in order to protect Konoha, but this would be assuming that Itachi and Obito are in the same room, and since Obito at this period in time was pretending to be Tobi and partnering up with Deidara, this makes it a little bit more difficult. If Itachi goes to seek out Deidara and Tobi, there's a chance Kisame gets suspicious due to there being no reason for them to cross paths, and the fact that you also have Deidara wanting to kill Itachi at this point. If by some reason Itachi does pull this off, Obito realistically kills the whole Akatsuki until Zetsu triggers the steel that Madara placed on Obito's heart, assuming that Zetsu can do this, however, and the story will end here. However, given Obito and Itachi never crossed paths physically during this period in time, I think the only real option is that Itachi presents himself in front of Naruto and still gets Naruto Shisui's eye with a different program for the Koto Matsukami placed into it by Itachi. Itachi at some point would die from his ninja aids after Kisame captured the Four Tails, and from here things would get more interesting. Akatsuki would be down serious manpower at this point. Itachi is dead, Sasori is dead, Hidan is dead, Kakuzu is dead. The only remaining members would be Deidara, Konan, Zetsu, Kisame, Tobi/Obito, and Pain. Instead of moving in two-man teams, it is possible that Akatsuki's forced to move in three-man teams now due to the dwindling numbers, unless Obito and Nagato find new recruits, which I don't believe that would happen this far into the game. Akatsuki would have already sealed away 2 Biju during the time skip, and 4 more Biju since the Naruto time skip, with the 1, 2, 3, and 4 tails now being sealed away, leaving only 3 more Jinchuriki to hunt down. I could see Kisame being sent after the 6th tail, since the 6th tail was originally from Kisame's village. After Jiraiya infiltrates the Rain village and dies, I could see the next 2 changes occurring. I still believe that Obito would have Pain and Konan go after Naruto, who would be busy learning Sage Mode. However, I believe Obito and Deidara would go to the Cloud Village, and I believe the 2 of them would be able to capture Killer Bee, though I think Deidara would likely attract a lot of attention in the process. And to be honest, I could see Killer Bee just outright killing Deidara at some point, which then allows Obito to fight at full strength and capture Killer Bee, even after B transforms into the 8 tails, and I don't believe that Obito will fall for B's tentacle trick. Naruto would still go on to defeat Pain and get Nagato to revive everyone in Konoha. Tsunade would be rendered unconscious, and I believe the 5 Kage summit would still be called, if for no other reason than the Raikage seeing Deidara's dead body or his scratched headband, which means in this timeline his ire would be directed towards the Stone Village and the Tsuchikage. Obito would declare war as he did originally in this timeline, but he pointed out that he has 8 of the 9 Biju now. No Sasuke means that there's no battle with the Raikage, and Danzo returns to Konoha, having represented Konoha at the 5 Kage summit, on top of having the feudal lord's approval beforehand. However, where things get really interesting is if Gar makes it known to Konoha that Danzo not only used deception at the summit, but also given the attempt on Ao's life, the Mizukage likely sends word of what happened as well. This
is where I kind of have like a main disagreement with like his story direction. Because I would still probably, like, at certain points and turns, there could be differences or whatever. Obviously, if I would ever do my What If series, you know, it's more likely going to be either completely different, maybe similar, I don't know. It depends. I would obviously have to do my research, you name it, look over the anime, the manga, you name it. But one thing I will say is if, obviously, Sasuke is not around, you name it, etc., Danzo should still be at the meeting there. Okay, and even if Danzo was to use Kodo Matsukami, you know, on that one dude or whatnot, you name it, I don't like. It's interesting, actually, you know, he can't use Kodo Matsukami yet, because he has to wait for it to charge back up. I think it was either, it was that same day, so like it takes like a couple amount of hours for him to use it. And that's because he has like the Hashirama cells, you name it. So like basically what would probably happen is like. Because knowing Danzo, he'd probably like try to, you know, be like, hey, we all need to fight this guy right now and just take him out. And obviously Obito's just going to get away, whatever. Like, he'll be fine. But I was going to say that Danzo would more than likely use Kodo Matsukami on Obito. But then again, I forgot he does use it against the samurai, you know, and whatnot to kind of control like the whole meeting and everything. So then that wouldn't be an option either. So never mind. I'm tripping on that. But could Danzo act, you know, in any form of way against Obito? Probably, you know, knowing in character, like he would try to, you know, exploit that opportunity and be like, hey, let's kill this guy or fight him or capture him, whatever. But yeah,
room for pause to cause debate within the Jonin Council before the feudal lord, with the Jonin Council's vote still being needed to make the Hokage selection permanent. And by the time Shizune announces that Tsunade is awake, there's ground to say that Tsunade could be reinstated as Hokage as an effort to maintain balance with the other nations, given how badly Danzo screwed things up. In my opinion, given all of this, Tsunade would resume her duties as Hokage, overcoming Danzo's efforts to have her removed, and Tsunade would be the one in charge of the 5 Kage's shinobi army, since Gar showed knowledge that while Gar did show knowledge that impressed Mifune, Gar was too young and inexperienced to be the leader. Danzo had a good run at it even without Koto Matsukami, but Danzo ruined his chances. And now Danzo's no longer Hokage. The Raikage had too much of a hot head and only gained leadership once he cooled down after the fact, which wouldn't happen in this timeline once he learned that Killer Bee was dead. Inoki would be damaged goods because of his shinobi being the cause of this for the Kage summit in the first place, and him openly admitting he's employed the Akatsuki before. When it comes to Mei the Mizukage, nobody believes Mei would be chosen, leaving Tsunade, the member of the legendary Sannin, to lead the shinobi army. Also, because Naruto never went to the Raikage summit, there's a strong likelihood that Obito never tells the truth about the Uchiha massacre and Itachi, which means that Itachi's secret stays in the grave with Itachi. Where things get really interesting now is the fact that Tsunade is in charge. There's a likelihood that she will be willing to allow Naruto to join the battlefield against Obito's army, which will now be significantly weaker due to Kabuto not being around for Edo Tensei. However, on the other side of things, the Akatsuki would have an alive Kisame on the battlefield during the war on top of the Zetsu army. I could see someone like the Raikage still being able to talk Tsunade into having Naruto train at Turtle Island to master the Nine Tails and having sound logic in doing so. He'd point out that Naruto doesn't have full control of the Nine Tails, but the enemy has 8 Biju and they defeated a perfect Jinchuriki and Killer Bee. Sending Naruto into a war with 8 other Biju at the enemy disposal on top of an enemy who has this level of power would have been ill-advised. I believe Tsunade would still have Naruto sent to Turtle Island. While Bee isn't alive to help master the Nine Tails, certain steps like the Waterfall of Truth and training in the room for Jinchuriki are still things known by others. I believe that Naruto would still master the Waterfall of Truth and Naruto will be instructed on how to interact with Kurama. Though Bee isn't around, given the nature of the temple that they go to, I could see someone knowing how to walk Naruto through how to gain access to that room where they keep the Biju. Despite having a stronger will than he did in the original timeline, Kushina was...
Bee not being in the picture, I don't think he would master it at all or have any chance. Like, even if somehow, some way he's able to get through and get in there, whatever, it even took the assistance of Bee and his mom in order for him to win against the Nine Tails. So, like, I'm being 100% honest with you. I think this goes drastically fucking horrible. And either the Nine Tails takes full control, he either kills, and then, you know, and basically has full control and now is released, you know, and things like that. I don't think Naruto would die, because I'm pretty sure if he kills Naruto, then Naruto would die. You know what I mean? Or they both would die. So I don't think he can do that, but he would have full control because the whole seal would be broken, you name it, and he'd just go on a fucking rampage and go from there. So, like, I don't know about him mastering the power, all that. I think that's a little bit out there, but that's just me, though.
Still appear to help Naruto with the Nine Tails being tamed, which would lead to that moment between mother and son. Meanwhile, given that Kisame never fought Bee, there would be no way for Obito to learn the location where Naruto's being held, which means that Yamato's never captured, and instead Obito's forced to take a more direct approach. Meanwhile, the Fourth Great Ninja War commences as usual, but there will be some differences here. Not having the Edo Tensei to deal with means that the battle against the Zetsu army goes a lot smoother until nightfall of day 1 of the war, which still ends with Zetsu's attack on the medical unit being an utter failure, since Sakura would still spoil Zetsu's plan. At some point during day 2 of the war, Kakashi and Gai's team would likely end up fighting against Kisame, who would be an utter monster on the battlefield, between using Samihara and using his water dome jutsu. But between Kakashi and Gai on the battlefield, Kisame would end up getting killed in the fight, striking a heavy blow against the Akatsuki. Where things get more interesting is Obito, who would still have gone on to collect the Rinnegan and kill Konan. However, in this timeline, Kabuto was the one who reanimated the dead Jinchuriki, and Obito then used the Rinnegan 6-pass jutsu to make a 6-pass of Obito. Since it is unknown if the Akatsuki kept the dead bodies of the Jinchuriki after their extraction, I don't think we can comfortably go with the 6-pass of Obito route. However, Obito at some point would go onto the battlefield after Kisame's death and would be able to use the Rinnegan jutsu in a strategic manner, from the basic 6-pass jutsu to, if needed to, the Gidomazu statue if he ran into any Konoha shinobi who knew how to counter Rinnegan jutsu, which is why he never used any of the basic jutsu against Kakashi or Gai. If push came to shove, Obito would release the Biju that were sealed inside the Gidomazu in order to be controlled and destroy chunks of the alliance. This will push Tsunade to make a decision. Also, originally Naruto learned of what happened in the outside world and chose to leave Turtle Island. Given he himself would be working to control the Nine Tails power alone and figuring out for himself, it's very possible that Naruto learns even faster than before about the war, since there's no one there to distract him, which means he'd head out even sooner than sunrise of day 2 of the war. If we assume this happens, then Tsunade's hand would be forced when she and the Raikage went to stop Naruto. Originally, she needed to defer to the Raikage, but in this scenario,
I'm being 100% honest with you. I don't even think Naruto would even be able to escape either, because They had like a unit that was designed to keep any Jinchuriki captured or stayed in their facility. So it doesn't matter, like it could be able to deal with tail beast bombs, you name it. Like, but the guy states that, oh yeah, it's meant for one Jinchuriki, but not for two. So meaning, you know, like if we have Naruto here, he shouldn't be able to break through that either, because for one, he can't do a tail beast bomb, and two, you'd have to say that his KCM form can be able to output the same amount of power as a tail beast bomb from the full 8 tails. And that's just definitely not the case. So Naruto's not even getting to the war. He actually wouldn't even be able to be successful in doing that, because he wouldn't be able to break the barrier that that unit has. So I'm just putting that out there. I don't know if that's something he's forgetting about or whatever, or he just thinks Naruto could be able to break through that for whatever reason, but that's just me.
Command to overrule the Raikage, and if the Raikage did insist on turning things physical, a serious Tsunade is physically stronger than the Raikage. However, I don't think it ever comes down to a fight. Instead, I believe Tsunade would be persuaded by Naruto, despite Naruto not having a full master of Kurama.
He doesn't even mention that. He just immediately says Naruto just gets to the battlefield.
Having a chakra cloak, simply because the progress he made in such a short period of time. Instead, I believe Tsunade would be persuaded by Naruto, despite Naruto not having full mastery of Kurama, the sight of his chakra cloak, and simply the progress he made in such a short period of time, and the fact that Naruto as a character tends to make the most progress as he figures things out in his own way. It's possible that Tsunade is won over by Naruto's talk no jutsu and decides to make a gamble on him. However, this is where things get really interesting. Given Obito is using Biju on the battlefield, originally it was a combination of learning the real Madara Uchiha had been reanimated and dropped meteors on the Shinobi Alliance, and the revelation that the masked man wasn't Madara. That's what caused the Raikage to head to the battlefield. However, the fact that so soon after Naruto's arrival turns the tide in battle, and given the lack of Edo Tensei, the Zetsu army would have been destroyed, and now Obito's using Biju to wipe out chunks of the Alliance, I believe Tsunade and the 5 Kage would go to the battlefield. However, given how Kakashi and Guy were able to hold their own against the Edo Tensei Jinchuriki, even in their version 2 states, I believe Obito using the Jinchuriki, I believe Obito using the Biju against Naruto and the Kage, potentially being backed up by members of the Alliance like Kakashi and Guy, would pay huge dividends in the pending battle. However, the moment that Naruto and Obito lock eyes, a major change in the timeline would occur. The crow that Itachi placed into Naruto would emerge at the sight of Obito's Sharingan and cast Koto Masukami on Obito with the order to destroy Akatsuki, which would lead to Obito kamoing away to Zetsu's primary location and killing Zetsu, and by extension killing himself since he's also part of the Akatsuki. In time, the sensory unit will locate Obito's last known chakra signature and discover the dead body, with Naruto confused about what happened until someone like Ao sees Shisui's eye inside the crow and realizes what happened. However, upon seeing the dead body of Obito, assuming Kakashi's there when the team discovers it, Kakashi's mind would be shattered at the revelation of his childhood friend being the leader of the Akatsuki.
So this is actually like an understandable route to conclude the whole story and everything. It makes sense. It's just kind of in character for Itachi. Like, he's kind of the Batman of Naruto in a sense. You know, always has contingencies kind of in place, you name it, whatever. And obviously, if he's not going to use the crow to use against Sasuke, he could most definitely use it against Obito. You know, just as a backup, just in case if Obito ever tries to capture Naruto or deal with him or whatever, you know, or whatever the case may be, you know, conquer the world, you name it. So if that is something that is to potentially happen, that is, you know, a fail-safe he could have, I could definitely foresee that. Or, you know, I don't really, it might not even really get that far. If Guy takes Obito as enough of a serious threat, especially with all the tail beasts, Guy could go 8th gate, deal with all the tail beasts, and then just kill Obito. You know what I mean? Now, yes, I know he has combo, you name it, but like Guy, you're talking about a character that can move at such speed to where literally, like, even Jubi Madara couldn't do anything. Jubi Madara, okay, who is way over this Obito. Okay, so if that guy could be able to beat him, I do believe Guy could be able to move so fast to where even Kamui wouldn't be able to work. Now, if Obito has Kamui activated for 5 minutes, then it comes to the question, like, okay, do you think Guy's 8th gate can last for more than 5 fucking minutes? That's where it's interesting, and if it can't, then obviously Guy still dies, and Obito's still alive or whatever, and then, you know, Koto will be the W, whatever. But even if you don't think that's the case, and then Guy does win, he just wins the war, Guy dies, he's known as a hero for stopping everything. Or if Naruto comes and let's say Koto wasn't at play either, you know, I do think it's very believable for Naruto to go into KCM 2. You know, I mean, that is a possibility. And if he does go to KCM2, obviously Obito would be forced to do the Ten Tails transformation, all that. That'll basically happen all over again, and then God would either eventually have to go to, like, you know, back to 8th Gate. Maybe things, you know, and like, I don't know, it'd be really, really interesting. But like, I don't think Obito would win though. I don't see that happening. Like Obito would have to use the Ten Tails, immediately have it be done, then immediately try to become the Ten Tails Shinjuki by absorbing everything. And you know, like if he's able to become the Ten Tails Shinjuki, then Guy would just go 8th Gates and kill Obito. You know what I mean? He would kill Jubito. You know what I mean? So Guy would still be either the hero, you know, if it was necessary. Unless you think KCM2 Naruto or KCM2 Seife Naruto could somehow pull the W before that even happens, but I don't think it would go that route because it kind of wasn't really shown or implied even in Naruto that KCM2 or KCM Seife wasn't enough to kind of, you know, include that. I do know Madara was there too, so that's probably more than likely the reason why. But I don't know. I don't think that would be enough to still stop Obito either. So especially with the Ghetto statue, you name it. So. But yeah, that's just kind of it is what you get with it. I think those are like the most best conclusions to kind of come up with. But
said with Zetsu dead and Obito dead as well, Madara is never revived, and Kaguya is never revived either. Kakashi likely takes Obito's other Sharingan, vowing to use the eyes of his friend to help guide this world into the direction where it never fails another Obito again. This now in turn gives Kakashi both Mangekyo's Sharingan powers as well as the Susanoo. Given Obito's corpse would have had one Rinnegan and them potentially being in the location where the second Rinnegan was hidden, Tsunade has a decision to make about the Rinnegan since she's the leader of the alliance. The power of a god is in both of these eyes. I could see her and the other Kages agreeing to have the eye destroyed so as to prevent its power from falling into the wrong hands. Or I could see someone contemplating, or even Naruto himself asking for the eyes that once belonged to Nagato. But given Naruto be the final Jinchuriki left, since the Gidomazu statue is likely destroyed following Obito's death, there are huge questions that need to be brought up here. Does Tsunade allow the Biju to be returned to their respective villages? It's very possible. In fact, I think it's likely. However, I could also see Inoki and the Raikage raising enough fuss over Konoha being in possession of Kakashi with 2 Sharingan and being in possession of the Rinnegan. Though the battles they fought in the war could lead to more civil discussion, but in my opinion, it's likely the eye is destroyed. In the aftermath of the war, Tsunade would continue to be Hokage, and as time passes by and Naruto fully masters the power of Kurama, I could see Tsunade making Naruto 6 Hokage in his late 20s, unless she decides to retire early and allow Kakashi to be 6 Hokage until Naruto matures. Meanwhile, Danzo gets his Hashirama cell arm ripped off and he gets Shisui's Sharingan taken out of his eye socket because of how reckless and how underhanded Don.
Now I'm gonna say something as well about Kakashi being able to use both Mangekyo's Sharingan, like even as Warrior Kakashi. Yes, I know we do see him with both Mangekyo Sharingan, but that was mainly due to him getting like a 6-pass amp as well. And it was kind of like a different scenario as well. It was like kind of Obito's spiritual manifestation kind of going within Kakashi's body, so that was more likely the reason why he could even pull it off to begin with. But just Kakashi to do that on his own, to take another Sharingan and to use another Mangekyo at the same fight, like that's a lot of chakra and a lot of stamina and toll on his body. I don't think at that current point he could be able to do that. Maybe if like Kakashi progresses far enough, you know, in Boruto and his chakra levels increase, you know, stamina, you know, and whatnot, because that is a thing in Naruto. People's chakra levels, you know, training, you name it, they do increase in time. Then he could probably be able to use it at that point and use Susanoo, whatever. But then again, it's only going to be limited. You know what I mean? Like, he only has it for so long because it's not like he has fucking Hashirama cells, you know, to have infinite fucking vision like Obito over here. So, like, it's just, I don't know. That's a little weird. I don't know if he would really go that far. If anything, he might not even just take his eyes anymore because he would be so conflicted and so, like, hurt and confused. So, like, the whole reason why he even used Obito's Sharingan was as to respect his wish. You know, to see the world and whatnot, and he used to Sharingan name or whatever. But after finding out that Obito was fucking bad with the Akatsuki name, like, he probably would get rid of his fucking Sharingan. You know what I mean? Or maybe he would use it, you know, to stay on the positive side, and until like the light, you know, runs out, then he'd probably use the other eye Obito has, you know, whatever, for shits and giggles. And now with that eye, he can fucking use calmly in his body. That would be really badass. You name it. But like, I don't know about using 2 though immediately. I don't know about all that. That's a little weird. I don't even think he would be able to do that. I think it would be too much of a toll on his body, and he can't deactivate it either. So like he would have to have both of his eyes covered too. So I don't know about all that. That's a little weird. But overall it was interesting. What if? Very very interesting. There was many points in times where it could have gone a different route or be different or whatever. But that's the whole interesting part of what ifs. We just won't ever know. You know what I mean? We can only go with so much information that we have, and use so much that we can utilize and analyze. So like, it's interesting. It really is interesting. It can go in so many fucking ways, and for like just one variable that could potentially change an art could cause so many drifts. You know what I mean? And domino effects. So it's very very interesting. That's why what if stories are always very intriguing to me, and I'm always it's always interesting to what people think how things would go. Because everybody always has differences of opinion, always. So, but we'll kind of conclude here. It was a really good video. I really did enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. We'll make sure to have plenty more reaction videos to his videos as well. I haven't been really on top with his type of videos, mainly due to the fact that they're all really lore related or what ifs or things like that. Like he doesn't really have what if videos or videos that are really interesting, let's say, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying his videos are not interesting. It's just he doesn't have like video material that like basically comes out like that could be really just intriguing overall in a sense. Like I don't know. Like his is more of just like educational side of videos, if that makes sense. Or his beliefs of how things could be. What I've seen him and things like that overall. Like he's more of the educational Naruto YouTuber, kind of similar to NC Hammer 23, kind of exactly how he is as a person, very similar to that, but and that's it. But the only thing with NC Hammer is he can either have really really interesting Naruto topics in his videos, or he's now actually starting to a degree to do versus battles as well, which is also pretty cool. So but anyways, we'll kind of conclude it here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below of what would happen if Sasuke was killed at the Valley of the End, how things would drastically change. Let me know what you think. I'm curious. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Peace.